Hi, welcome to Fiction Fingers Fairy Channel. Please subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. And don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you. I want to resign from my job here. I want to go back to my hometown and become a nurse there, Suzy said firmly, her voice filled with determination as she expressed her desire for a new path in life. Although Rachel felt a pang of sadness at the thought of Suzy leaving, she understood Suzy's need to follow her dreams. While I'll miss you terribly, Suzy, I support your decision to pursue your dream of becoming a nurse in your hometown, Rachel replied, her tone tinged with both sadness and encouragement. Brian nodded in agreement, offering his unwavering support to Suzy. We'll miss having you here, Suzy, but your happiness and fulfillment are what matter most. If becoming a nurse in your hometown is what you truly want, then we're behind you all the way, Brian reassured, his voice filled with sincerity and support. Suzy felt a sense of relief wash over her as she received Rachel and Brian's understanding and encouragement. Thank you, Rachel. Brian, your support means everything to me, Suzy expressed gratefully, her heart filled with gratitude for their unwavering support. As the day approached to send Suzy off to the bus station, Brian feigned busyness, making excuses to avoid accompanying them. He simply wished Suzy farewell from the comfort of their home. Suzy couldn't help but feel relieved that Brian wouldn't be joining them. It's strange that Brian didn't want to come, Rachel remarked, her brow furrowing with concern as they walked to the car. Suzy shrugged, masking her true feelings behind a smile. Maybe he's just really busy with work, she said. As they drove to the bus station, Rachel and Suzy engaged in conversation, cherishing the moments they had left together. Don't forget to call or message me, Rachel reminded Suzy, her voice tinged with a hint of sadness at the impending separation. Suzy nodded, her eyes reflecting a mix of gratitude and sadness. And don't forget to send me pictures of Willy, she replied, her voice filled with affection for the little boy she had grown to love. Rachel smiled warmly, her heart touched by Suzy's fondness for Willy. Of course, I'll keep you updated on all his antics, she promised, her voice filled with reassurance. As they reached the bus station, Rachel pulled over and turned to Suzy, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. Take care of yourself, Suzy, and remember, we're always here for you, she said softly, her voice filled with sincerity and warmth. Suzy nodded, her own eyes glistening with tears. Thank you, Rachel, for everything. I'll miss you, she replied, her voice choked with emotion as she embraced Rachel one last time. With a heavy heart, Rachel watched as Suzy boarded the bus, her thoughts filled with memories of their time together. As the bus pulled away, she waved goodbye, knowing that Suzy was embarking on a new chapter of her life, but also feeling the pang of loss at her departure. Brian sat at his desk in the office, a sense of relief washing over him as he reflected on Suzy's departure from their home. Thank goodness Suzy chose to go back to her hometown, he muttered to himself, unaware of Suzy's true feelings towards him. It's for the best, Brian continued, his voice tinged with a hint of satisfaction. Now things can go back to normal without any distractions. As he immersed himself in his work, Brian couldn't shake the feeling of relief that Suzy's absence brought. I can focus on my career and my family without any unnecessary complications, he reasoned, his mind already drifting to his upcoming projects. Maybe now Rachel and I can spend more quality time together, Brian mused, a faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips. Without Suzy around, things will be much simpler. As Suzy settled into her seat on the bus, a sense of relief washed over her. I'm glad I managed to control my feelings, she whispered to herself, her voice barely audible amidst the hum of the bus engine. It wouldn't be fair to Rachel, Suzy continued, her thoughts drifting to her dear friend whom she considered like a sister. I can't betray her trust or jeopardize our friendship. Closing her eyes, Suzy took a deep breath, trying to push aside any lingering doubts or desires. I made the right decision, she reassured herself, her resolve firm despite the twinge of sadness in her heart. I have to stay true to myself and to Rachel, Suzy muttered, her voice tinged with determination. Our friendship means everything to me, and I won't let anything come between us. As the bus rumbled along the highway, Suzy focused on the passing scenery, grateful for the opportunity to start anew in her hometown. Day by day, week by week, month by month, Suzy found joy in her work as a nurse at a small hospital in her hometown. As she tended to her patients with care and compassion, Suzy felt a sense of fulfillment that she had never experienced before. Amidst the hectic pace of the hospital, Suzy found moments of solace and connection with her patients. Slowly but surely, I'm letting go of my feelings for Brian, Suzy whispered to herself, her voice filled with determination. I know that holding on to these emotions will only hold me back from finding true happiness. With each passing day I feel lighter, freer, Suzy mused, a sense of relief washing over her as she released the weight of her forbidden love. "I believe that someday, I'll meet my true soulmate," Suzy affirmed, her voice filled with hope and optimism. As time went on, Suzy maintained her close connection with Rachel, despite the distance between them. During their conversations, Suzy and Rachel shared updates about their lives and reminisced about old memories. "I miss you both so much," Suzy admitted, a hint of longing in her tone as she thought about the times they spent together. And when Suzy spoke to Willy, her heart swelled with affection. "You're growing up so fast, Willy," Suzy remarked, a fond smile on her lips as she watched him on the screen. "I can't wait to see you again and hear all about your adventures." Their video calls became a source of comfort and solace for Suzy, especially during moments when she felt homesick or lonely. "Thank you for always being there for me," Suzy expressed, her gratitude evident in her words. "You both mean the world to me." As a new doctor from the city reported for duty at the hospital where Suzy worked, Suzy felt a flutter of excitement mingled with nervousness. "Hi, I'm David," the young doctor introduced himself with a warm smile. Suzy, stationed at the front desk, couldn't help but feel a rush of anticipation as she met his gaze. "I'm Suzy," she replied, offering her own introduction with a hint of shyness. Taking charge of the situation, Suzy led Dr. David to his office. "This is your office," she said, her cheeks flushing slightly as she felt a pang of self-consciousness. Despite her efforts to appear composed, Suzy couldn't shake the feeling of butterflies fluttering in her stomach. Dr. David, sensing Suzy's unease, tried to put her at ease. "Thank you, Suzy. I appreciate your help," he said, his tone reassuring. Suzy nodded, grateful for his understanding demeanor. As they settled into the office, Suzy found herself stealing glances at Dr. David, unable to shake the feeling of excitement that bubbled within her. "If you need anything, feel free to ask," Suzy offered, her voice soft as she tried to maintain her composure. Dr. David smiled appreciatively, sensing Suzy's efforts to make him feel welcome. "Thank you, Suzy. I'm sure I'll have plenty of questions as I settle in," he replied, his gaze meeting hers briefly before returning to unpacking his belongings. As the day progressed, Suzy couldn't shake the feeling of anticipation that lingered in the air whenever she was near Dr. David. She found herself looking forward to their interactions, each exchange leaving her feeling more intrigued by the new doctor. Despite her attempts to focus on her work, Suzy found her thoughts drifting back to Dr. David throughout the day. She couldn't deny the flutter of excitement that accompanied his presence, a feeling she couldn't quite explain but one that left her eager to get to know him better. One day, Dr. David approached the front desk while Suzy was on duty. "Are you free after work today? Would you like to grab some tea with me?" Dr. David asked, his tone friendly and inviting. Suzy was taken aback by the unexpected invitation. After hesitating for a few moments, she finally agreed, her heart racing with anticipation. "Sure," she replied softly, her mind swirling with questions and emotions. As they made plans to meet after work, Suzy couldn't help but feel a mixture of excitement and nervousness. "Is this what happiness feels like?" she wondered to herself, her thoughts racing as she tried to make sense of her feelings. After finishing her shift, Suzy met Dr. David as planned. They found a cozy cafe nearby and settled in for tea. As they chatted, Suzy found herself drawn to Dr. David's easygoing demeanor and thoughtful conversation. "This is nice," she thought, a sense of warmth spreading through her as they shared stories and laughter. As the evening wore on, Suzy realized that she was enjoying herself more than she had in a long time. She felt a sense of connection with Dr. David, as if they had known each other for much longer than just a few hours. "Maybe this is what I've been searching for," she mused, a glimmer of hope blossoming within her heart. Dr. David's presence seemed to fill the space around them with warmth and comfort. Suzy found herself opening up to him in ways she hadn't expected, sharing her hopes, dreams, and fears without reservation. "Thank you for inviting me out today," she said sincerely, her eyes meeting him with gratitude. As they parted ways that evening, Suzy couldn't shake the feeling of contentment that lingered within her. Perhaps happiness isn't so elusive after all, she thought, a smile playing at the corners of her lips as she walked away, her heart feeling lighter than it had in a long time. As Suzy walks home, a radiant smile graces her lips, illuminating her face with happiness. With each step, her heart feels lighter, buoyed by the newfound warmth she experienced during her time with Dr. David. Thoughts of their conversation danced through her mind, filling her with a sense of excitement and possibility. The world around her seems to shimmer with a newfound brightness, as if echoing the glow of her inner joy. The end.